And I actually went back and looked, what has been the average percentage increase since the triple lock? And it comes out, I think, at 4.2. Okay. Since the introduction of the triple lock. A lot of that just recently because of the very big inflation events, what have you. But it makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, it really is going to escalate, and it's not going to go away as a political problem for exactly that reason, that it's going to get more and more expensive to pay for. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Personal Investor Podcast. I'm Ed Monk, and I'm joined today by my Fidelity colleague, Marianna Hunt, to talk about the state pension. How much is it worth in 2026? How much might it be worth in the future? And why is it such a valuable benefit, no matter what your other retirement income? Before that, let me remind you that if you find this video useful or interesting, to please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, join the discussion in the comments below. It really will help others find what we're doing here, and it means that you'll get new content as soon as it is released. That all said, Marianna, welcome along. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Ed?
I'm good, thank you. Let's get straight to the level of the state pension in 2026. What can pensioners get this year?
Okay, so from April, the full new state pension will be around £241 per week, which works out to approximately £12,500 per year. That's an increase of around 5% from this year's amount. Mm-hmm. However, for most people, £12,500 per year isn't enough to live off, although it does cover a minimum standard of retirement according to Pensions UK, the trade body's definition of a minimum retirement, which includes things like a week-long holiday a year, TV license, rail fares, etc.
Yes. Okay, so there's a few things to say here. That, as you said, is the full state pension. So that is what happens if you have all 35 years of qualifying national insurance contributions. You might think you have many more than that, but 35 is the minimum that you need. That's also for people on the new state pension. So anyone who reached state pension age after 2016, if that happened for you before 2016, you're on an older system, right?
Exactly. And the headline amount you receive under the old system is lower. However, under the old system, people were able to become eligible for other kinds of state pensions, things like SERPs, the state's second pension. And that meant that outcomes were actually quite variable. Some people got more, some people got less. And so with the new state pension, what we did was we got rid of all of that, and it became just one flat payment that if you've got the full national insurance contribution record, everyone would get the same amount. And the idea there was to create a system that was simpler, flatter, and have more consistent outcomes for people. One thing that's worth saying is that whether you're under the old system or the new system, the amount you receive will go up with the triple lock.
Which brings us on to the triple lock. Exactly. And this is the mechanism, of course, which uprates the state pension. We're getting a 4.8% rise this time. That is because of something that happened last year. So give us a top line explanation of the triple lock. How does it work?
Okay, so under the triple lock, every April, the state pension amount will increase by either inflation, average wage growth, or 2.5%, whichever of those three metrics is higher. And the purpose of this is to ensure that pensioner incomes aren't losing pace to the cost of living, and they're not falling significantly behind wages over time.
Yes, exactly. And, successive governments have committed to it. It's always a bit controversial because it's an expensive thing. And that's because anything to do with the state pension is expensive. It's big, lots of people getting it. And lots more people in the future will get it, of course, as well. The logic, I guess, of the policy, as you say, we don't want pensions getting poorer in real terms after inflation or relative to working people. The 2.5% element isn't necessary to meet those aims. I guess that's just a guarantee the politicians have put in there that it's always going to rise. Why then is the triple lock so controversial?
Well, it's controversial for a couple of reasons, one of which you just touched on, which is the cost of maintaining it. Then there's also the question of who it benefits. So because of this generous triple lock system, it means that the state pension often grows faster than the economy. So, and that means that the cost of maintaining it can cause significant financial pressure for the state because the cost is growing faster than the economy is. And also, critics say that it's unfair to working age taxpayers because their incomes often aren't rising as fast as the state pension is. And there's this odd effect that you see with the triple lock where it can respond to the same financial shock twice. So we saw this in 2022 when we had that period of high inflation. So in 2023, we got a big boost of 10% to the state pension in line with inflation. Then wages caught up to compensate for the cost of living increases. And so the state pension went up the following year again with a big boost in line with the wage growth that was really just compensating for what we'd already seen.
Yeah, it's that kind of ratcheting effect. It's not only that the state pension will match these measures over long periods, they match them and might exceed them in every single year. And it's kind of building that growth kind of compounds over a long time. And you get to the figure that we're going to have this year, £12,548. I think that's where it lands if you add up all those weekly payments. And that's from April 2026. And as an indication of the kind of growth in that is now just below the level at which we have the personal allowance. That's the amount you can earn without paying any tax. So the state pension will soon be enough on its own to make you a taxpayer. And that's something we've just not seen before.
Exactly. And the UK government has actually responded directly to this. So in the autumn budget, the government has said that if your only income is the state pension, then you won't pay income tax on that. And that's because, exactly as you say, from 2027, we expect that the state pension will exceed the personal allowance, so the threshold at which you start paying income tax, which would have meant that simply because of the upratings, people whose only income was the state pension would have started paying income tax. So now the Chancellor said they won't be doing that. They won't be chasing these pensioners for these quite small tax bills. So that's positive for those people who would have been impacted. But some people are saying that it creates kind of an unfair system where if you have saved, even if it's just a small amount, and you've got a very small level of personal pension income coming in, you will pay tax, whereas someone who's never saved and only has the state pension wouldn't be paying tax.
Yeah, it's like, I guess the government's trying to avoid that situation of giving people a handout through the benefit of a state pension and then taking it all back, not all of it, taking a sliver of it back in tax. A lot of admin, you could have just sort of let them off that. I guess that's the way they see it. But again, it sort of creates these sort of questions about fairness. I think with the triple lock, I think if you follow the political discussions around it, it probably will have to be addressed at some point. It's getting more and more expensive. And I think if as a measure of always bringing the state pension higher versus wages, it's reasonable. You might target a level and say, well, we want the state pension to be X percentage of average wages, for example. That would be a reasonable thing. But the politicians don't seem to want to do that. It's a powerful sort of political cost to do anything with the triple lock because it's going to hurt pensioner incomes.
Exactly. And actually, if you look at the international picture, our very generous triple lock system is by no means an international norm. So lots of countries only uprate their state pensions by either inflation or wage growth. And in Ireland, for example, there are no automatic upratings to the state pension. Sure. Any increase has to be agreed by Parliament, which will consider whether it's fiscally sustainable and all these kinds of things.
Which is what it was until like 2011 here anyway. Okay, so we've done a little bit of work that projects into the future to speculate about what the state pension might be. Of course, we don't know. We don't know what each of the elements of the triple lock will be and how they will affect the state pension. But what can we say based on some broad assumptions?
Well, these are actually some numbers that you did, Ed. So I don't want to take credit for the work, but I'm happy to explain it. So essentially, you looked at what the state pension will be worth in future if we had various levels of increases. So an increase of 2.5% a year, an increase of 3.5% a year, and an increase of 4.5% a year.
Yeah.
And when you look at the long term, the numbers are quite mind-boggling. So if you had an increase of just 2.5% a year, which is the minimum we could see under the triple lock, then by 2054, the state pension would be worth around £25,000 a year.
Yes.
If the increase was 3.5% a year, it would be worth around £33,000 per year. And if it was an increase of 4.5% a year, then the state pension would be worth more than £43,000
and that's
per year.
By
2054.
2054. And I actually went back and looked, what has been the average percentage increase since the triple lock? And it comes out, I think, at 4.2.
Okay.
Since the introduction of the triple lock. A lot of that just recently because of the very big inflation events, what have you. But it makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, it really is going to escalate, and it's not going to go away as a political problem for exactly that reason, that it's going to get more and more expensive to pay for. Good news, of course, if you are going to rely on the state pension, as we all probably will do. And that's where I wanted to end this, Marianna, because why is the state pension so important for everyone, not just for people whose only income is the state pension? What makes it so valuable? And can we say how much it might cost to replicate another way?
So the state pension is so important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it guarantees to pay you an income no matter how long you live. And secondly, because it guarantees to pay you an income that will at least beat inflation.
Yeah.
And that combination of a guarantee, longevity insurance, and inflation protection makes for a very valuable package. And to be able to replicate that using your own savings, it would cost you a significant chunk of money. So you could do that by buying an annuity, which pays you a guaranteed income for the rest of your life. And you could stipulate that you want that to increase by 3% a year to replicate the triple lock. And under current rates, that would cost you around £210,000 to do so. Yeah. So a significant amount. You could also do it via drawdown, drawing 4% of your pot per year using the 4% rule. And to be able to take 4% of a pot that would give you a state pension equivalent income, you'd need a total pot of just under £300,000. And of course, with drawdown, unlike with the state pension and unlike annuities, that income is not guaranteed. So it's up to you to try and make that last. So you can see that there is a significant cost if you want to try and replicate that guarantee.
And a really good nudge to make sure you've got your 35 years of contributions, right? You want to max that out. That's
Definitely.
Very important. Okay. We have covered absolutely loads there, Marianna, so we'll leave it for now. I will just remind you all that if you found this useful or interesting, to please subscribe to the channel. It means you'll get updated content as soon as it's released. Give us a like or share the episodes. That will help others find what we're doing here. That all said, Marianna, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Ed.